fills me in the air, it shivers cold and thin.
Echoes of the Forgotten Bride. Episode 19, Salt in the Locket. Memory is supposed to be private, a photograph in your mind, a feeling that belongs only to you, the intimate archive of your own experience. But some objects hold memories that aren't yours, carry experiences you never lived, force you to feel deaths you never died. And when you inherit such an object, you inherit its ghosts, its violence, its unfinished business. This is the 19th echo. Ada Winters had never known her grandmother. The woman had died before Ada was born, a reclusive figure. Family whispered about her, said she'd been strange, withdrawn, had lived alone in a cottage by the sea, had never spoken about her past. When Ada's mother died, Ada inherited what little there was. Some furniture, some books, and a small box of jewelry, costume pieces mostly, nothing valuable. But at the bottom of the box, wrapped in yellowed tissue paper, was a locket. Silver, tarnished, heavy, it had a delicate engraving on the front, a lily, the symbol that was all over Haven's End, the forgotten bride's mark. Ada tried to open it, it wouldn't budge, the clasp was sealed, rusted shut maybe, or deliberately closed. She shook it, something rattled inside, not heavy enough to be a photo, something lighter, granular. Salt, the locket was filled with salt. Ada set it aside, meant to have it cleaned, opened properly. But that night, wearing it to bed out of curiosity, out of connection to the grandmother she'd never known, she dreamed. And the dream was not hers. She was a man looking at a woman, young, beautiful, early 20th century clothing. They were by the water, arguing. "You can't marry him, you don't love him. Say it. Tell me you don't love him." The woman's voice was cold, determined. "What I love doesn't matter. What my family needs matters. The marriage is arranged. It will happen. You need to let me go." "I won't, I can't. We had plans, a life together. We had dreams, they weren't real." The man grabbed her shoulders, not roughly, desperately. His hands, Ada could feel them, feel the desperation, the fear, the refusal to accept. And then a push, not violent, just insistent, trying to hold, to keep, to prevent her from leaving. But they were too close to the edge. The rocks, the water, she stumbled, fell, her eyes wide, surprised, betrayed, and then water closing over her, her dress tangling, weighing her down, the man reaching, trying to pull her up. But his hands on her shoulders, holding, pushing, he couldn't tell anymore. Couldn't tell if he was saving or drowning, helping or killing. And then she stopped moving, stopped fighting, just floated, face down, dead. The man's horror, his realization, his attempt to pull her out, too late, and then running, hiding, pretending he was never there, letting them find her later, letting them call it accident, letting her fiancé grieve, letting the family mourn. Living with murder or accident or something in between, something he could never name, never confess, never escape. Ada woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, her heart hammering. That wasn't a dream, that was a memory, someone's memory, and the locket was showing it to her. She took it off, threw it across the room, tried to calm down, tried to tell herself it was just a nightmare, just her imagination, just stress. But the next night, despite her fear, despite her better judgment, she put it on again. Needed to know, needed to understand. And the dream came back, but different, further. She experienced the aftermath, the man at the funeral, standing in the back, watching her fiancé weep, watching her family grieve, knowing, carrying the knowledge, the terrible knowledge that he'd killed her, or let her die, or something unforgivable, something he'd never escape. She saw him age, years passing in moments, saw him marry someone else, have children, live a normal life, but always carrying it. The weight, the secret, the image of her face, the moment of realization, the last breath, the water. And she felt his emotions, not her own. His, the guilt, the justification, the rationalization. It was accident, she stumbled. He didn't mean to, but underneath. The truth, he'd been angry, had pushed just a little, just enough, had wanted her to feel his desperation. His need had used force, and force near water, near edges. Force was violence, was murder, even if it wasn't meant to be. Ada woke up knowing, the man in the memory, the killer, the accidental murderer, the desperate lover, he was her great-great-grandfather. Elias and the woman, the drowned woman. Eleanor, the one from the Historical Society records, the one from episode 2. The socialite who'd vanished on her wedding day. Elias had killed her, and the locket held the memory, preserved it, trapped it. His last tear, the note had said. The salt in the locket was crystallized guilt, crystallized memory, crystallized murder. And now Ada carried it, inherited it, felt it, lived it every night. She tried not wearing the locket, but the dreams continued. Once the connection was made, once she'd touched the memory, it wouldn't let go. It haunted her. Waking and sleeping, she'd see Eleanor's face, feel Elias' hands, experience the push, the fall, the water, the death, over and over. She was losing herself. Her own memories were fading, replaced by his guilt becoming her guilt, his secret becoming her burden. She was being consumed by inherited trauma, by a crime committed before she was born. She needed help, went to the Havens End Historical Society, found Thomas, the historian from episode 2 who'd helped uncover Eleanor's story. He remembered Ada, remembered the investigation. The locket, you found Elias' locket, the one that went missing after his death. We've been looking for that for years. It's cursed, it shows me his memories, his crime, his murder of Eleanor. I can't stop seeing it, can't stop feeling it, it's destroying me. Thomas took the locket carefully, examined it, the salt inside, that's his tear. His guilt, crystallized and preserved, magical thinking made literal. He believed if he kept his guilt close, kept it contained, it wouldn't consume him. But it did, consumed him his whole life, and now it's consuming you. How do I stop it? How do I break the connection? Thomas thought, you have to complete the story. Elias died with the secret. Eleanor died without justice. The story is unfinished. The memory is active, demanding resolution. You have to give it what it needs. Which is? Truth, public truth, acknowledgement. You have to tell Eleanor's family, tell the world, expose what Elias did, take away the secret's power by bringing it into light. But that will destroy my family's reputation. Our name, Elias' descendants. We've built lives, careers on respectability, on being part of Havens End's founding families. If people know we're descended from a murderer, then people know the truth. Ada, your reputation is built on a lie, on a covered-up crime. Is that really worth more than your sanity, your life, your freedom from this haunting? Ada struggled. Her family meant everything. Her grandmother had protected the secret, had carried the locket, had presumably felt the same dreams, the same memories, and had chosen silence, had chosen to bear the burden privately rather than expose the truth. But that burden had destroyed her, made her reclusive, strange, disconnected. Ada was following the same path, would end the same way, alone, haunted, consumed by someone else's guilt. I'll do it, I'll tell the truth, but I need help. I can't do this alone. Thomas nodded. I'll help, we'll do it together, we'll document everything. We'll present it as historical discovery, as research, not as accusation, just as truth. Over the next weeks, Ada and Thomas worked. They verified the memories, cross-referenced with historical records, found witnesses' accounts, found inconsistencies in Elias' timeline, found evidence that supported the locket's memories. That proved, or at least strongly suggested, that Eleanor's death was not accident, was murder, or manslaughter, or something in between. And as they worked, Ada and Thomas grew closer. They'd met before, in episode 2, but this was different, deeper. They were bound by investigation, by shared purpose, by the intimate work of uncovering family secrets, of facing inherited shame. Ada found herself drawn to him, to his careful methodology, his compassion, his refusal to judge her for her ancestor's crime. He saw her as separate, as her own person, not defined by Elias' guilt, not responsible for a murder committed a century before her birth. And Thomas was drawn to her courage, to her willingness to sacrifice reputation for truth, to her choice to break the silence even when silence would have been easier, safer, more socially acceptable. One night, working late in the Historical Society's archives, surrounded by documents and photographs and evidence, Thomas spoke. "You don't have to do this. You could destroy the locket, bury the truth, live with the dreams. It would be hard, but possible. Your grandmother did it. And it destroyed her, made her a ghost in her own life. I won't live that way. I won't carry Ilya's shame, his secret, his guilt. It's not mine. I'm releasing it, whether my family forgives me or not. They'll be angry. They'll say you're betraying them. They already betrayed themselves by covering this up, by choosing reputation over justice, by letting Eleanor's family believe she'd simply drowned, that no one was responsible, that her death was just tragedy. When it was violence, it was crime." Thomas reached across the table, took her hand. "You're one of the bravest people I've ever met. Or the stupidest. I'm destroying my own family's name. You're telling the truth. That's never stupid. That's the most important. Ain't thing anyone can do." Something shifted, the professional distance dissolved. They were just two people, connected by truth, by shared work, by attraction that had been building for weeks. Thomas leaned in, hesitated, asked with his eyes. Ada closed the distance, kissed him. It was soft, tentative, but real, not based on seen futures, not predicted or prophesied, just choice, just desire, just two people finding each other in the middle of difficult work. They presented their findings at a town hall meeting. Ada spoke, her voice shaking but determined. "I'm a direct descendant of Ilya's Winters, and I'm here to tell you that my great-great-grandfather murdered Eleanor Hartley. It was an accident, it was violence, and my family has covered it up for over a century. I'm choosing to stop that cover-up, to give Eleanor's story the truth it deserves, even if it costs me everything." The room erupted, anger, disbelief, support, condemnation. Eleanor's descendants wept, some in anger, some in relief, finally knowing, finally having acknowledgement, finally having someone say what had been whispered but never proven. Ada's extended family was furious, called her a traitor, a liar, a shame to the family name. Some cut her off completely, refused to speak to her, treated her as dead. But others quietly thanked her, admitted they'd felt the weight too, the secret that had been passed down, the knowledge that something was wrong with the family history, the relief of finally having it in the open. And Eleanor's family, they were divided. Some wanted Ada prosecuted, punished, even though she'd done nothing, even though the crime was committed before her birth. They wanted someone to pay, anyone. But Eleanor's great-granddaughter approached Ada after the meeting, an old woman, 80 at least. She took Ada's hands, looked at her with eyes that had lived long and seen much. "Thank you. My grandmother spent her whole life wondering what really happened to her mother. She died never knowing, but I know now, and that matters. That heals something. Not everything, but something. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what he did." The old woman shook her head. "You didn't do it. You're just the one brave enough to say it happened, to name it, to give my great-grandmother the dignity of truth. That's not apology. That's gift." Ada went home that night to her apartment. The locket was still there on her dresser. She picked it up. It felt different, lighter. The weight of secret was gone. The memory was still there, but defanged, known, no longer demanding attention, no longer consuming. She wore it to sleep. The dreams came, but different, not Ilya's memories. Eleanor's. She saw Eleanor's life, her kindness, her dreams, her fear of the arranged marriage, her real love for Ilya's, her sorrow at having to give him up, her surprise when he pushed, her betrayal, her acceptance, her forgiveness. And in the dream, Eleanor spoke, not to Ilya's, to Ada. "Thank you for telling, for witnessing, for breaking the silence. I can rest now, finally, after a century of being unnamed, unacknowledged, just the drowned girl. Now I'm Eleanor, I'm person, I'm murder victim, I'm real. Thank you." Ada woke with tears on her face. But not sad tears, relieved tears, completed tears. The haunting was over. The memory was witnessed. The secret was told. She was free. And the locket was just metal now, just silver and salt. No magic, no curse, no trapped memory demanding attention, just an artifact, a reminder, a piece of family history that was finally, honestly, hers to carry or release. Thomas came over that morning. brought coffee, held her while she told him about Eleanor's dream, her forgiveness, her release. They sat together in comfortable silence, two people who'd done difficult work, who'd chosen truth over comfort, who'd found each other in the process. What now for us? Thomas smiled. Now we date, properly, not in archives, not surrounded by evidence, just normal dates, coffee, dinners, movies, getting to know each other outside of historical trauma. That sounds perfect. And what will you do with the locket? Ada considered. I'll donate it to the Historical Society, with full documentation, with Eleanor's story, with Elia's confession. So anyone who wants to know the truth can find it, so the secret can never be buried again. That's good, that's right. Over the next months, Ada rebuilt. Some family relationships were permanently damaged, others healed, slowly, carefully. Her extended family learned that truth was more important than reputation, that honesty was more valuable than inherited shame, not all of them, but some. And Eleanor's family found peace, or something close to it. They held a memorial, proper acknowledgement. They changed her grave marker from Eleanor Hartley, tragically drowned, to Eleanor Hartley, beloved daughter, victim of violence, finally remembered. Ada attended, stood in the back, wept. Not from guilt, from release, from the completion of a story that had been unfinished for too long. Thomas stood beside her, held her hand. They'd built something real, not based on shared trauma, but on shared values, shared commitment to truth, shared courage to face difficult things together. The locket sat in a museum case, a small plaque explaining its significance. Eleanor's story, Elia's crime, Ada's revelation, the whole truth, no longer hidden, no longer consuming, just witnessed, acknowledged, complete. And sometimes visitors would stand in front of it, would read the story, would feel something, not haunting, just acknowledgement, just the recognition that secrets have weight, that silence has cost, that truth, however painful, is always better than inherited shame. Because we are not responsible for our ancestors' crimes, but we are responsible for whether we continue covering them up, whether we choose silence or speech, whether we prioritize reputation or truth. And when we choose truth, when we break silences that have festered for generations, we don't just free ourselves, we free everyone, the victims, the guilty, the descendants, the entire story. We let the dead rest, we let the living breathe, we let history be honest, finally, completely, without shame or secret or burden. Just truth, hard truth, healing truth, liberating truth. The sea remembers every crime, every secret, every murder disguised as accident, but it needs us to remember too, to name, to acknowledge, to refuse to carry shame that isn't ours, to expose violence that's been hidden. That's the inheritance worth claiming, not money, not property, not reputation, but courage, the courage to tell the truth, to break the silence, to free everyone from secrets that should never have been kept. And when we do that, when we choose truth over comfort, we inherit something else too. Freedom, real freedom, the freedom to be ourselves, not defined by our ancestors' sins, not burdened by their guilt, not consumed by their secrets. Just ourselves, present, honest, free. This has been Echoes of the Forgotten Bride, Episode 19, Salt in the Locket. Join us next time for Episode 20, The Final Vow. Until then, remember that we are not our ancestors, we are our choices, and the bravest choice is always truth.
Shadows in the